you members hear the minister's statement in absolute silence. Once he finishes, I will allow the member who raised the point of order, the first bite, and then allow a few members to ask clarifications or questions. And once we finish and we are satisfied, we'll let the minister go back to his office. Minister, welcome, and you can now take the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Together with the members of the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, my former colleagues, let me first take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank you for indulging me and inviting me to come here and talk to a matter of national importance. And I want to agree with you, Mr. Speaker, that National Government Constituency Development Fund has been a revolutionary fund in this country. And I want to also associate myself that this government supports devolution and devolution of resources. Devolution not in the sense of just county governments, but devolution of resources. And CDF, there cannot be any other better fund that is well devolved than, yes, you can use different terminology, decentralized, devolved, but the fact is that money goes to the grassroots. And so I still remain committed to devolution of resources and support to the National Government Constituency Development Fund and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, at the policy level, I want to reiterate that we have a strategy on how to release exchequer, especially on devolved resources. Mr. Speaker, being a former member of this parliament, and it is not long ago that I was here, and I've been here for 17 years, and appreciating the role that CDF plays in our economic development and a support to various social aspects of the society, including supporting education of our children, I voluntarily came to your office without any invitation on a date I can't remember in December to discuss with you the challenges of the release of funds to the national government.
It was on 5th December.
It was on 5th December. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And so when I came, we discussed, and I clearly took notes that we have not been able, or we were not able at that time to release constituency development funds to the constituencies as should be done. So I proposed a schedule on how the funds were going to be released. And so, Mr. Speaker, I just want to discuss with the members what has happened in terms of the release of these funds before I explain the challenges that probably we have encountered. First, Mr. Speaker, when I came, and this House will remember that there was carryover of CDF from the last financial year, money that was not disbursed, money that was appropriated to the National Government Constituency Development Fund, but was not disbursed. So for the 23-24 financial year, out of the total 57 billion, 931,500,000, only 44.4 billion was disbursed. That left us with a gap, a carryover of 13.531 billion. That was then added to the appropriation for 2024-2025 to give, which was 54,732,927,680. That gave us a figure of 68.233 billion for now, 24-25, to be paid or disbursed. Mr. Speaker, by the time I came to your office, out of this money, only an amount of 13.5 billion had been disbursed. So in the month of September, on 24th of September, we paid 5.5 billion. The following day, on 26th, 300 million was disbursed. That same September, we disbursed another 2 billion. Then in November, we disbursed 5.73 billion. So that cleared the entire carryover of 13.5 billion. Now, we sat down and I told you, Mr. Speaker, that entire 54 billion has not been disbursed, and we are already in December. We had only 7 months. So I committed myself that beginning December, we would be releasing 7 billion per month. Every month, 7 billion. To the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. So this is what we did. On 13th December, after coming to your office, the National Treasury released 7 billion shillings. On 20th of February, we again released another 7 billion. Now, you will note that we did not release any money in January. And I will come back to the reasons. In the month of March, again, after releasing the money for February of 7 billion, again we defaulted in February. Now, in March, we defaulted in March. So, Mr. Speaker, in the month of April, and that is not long ago, that is actually today, yeah, that is today. What I may not have here is the time, but I have evidence that we released another 7 billion shillings. Now, Mr. Speaker, this amount of 7 billion is to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. But then, for the National Government Affirmative Action, let me just touch on it. The budget was initially 3.2 billion. That was reduced to 2.7 billion after the supplementary budget. We had already released 1.6 billion. Today, we released the balance of 1,104,499,000. So now we have zero balance for National Government Affirmative Action. And one would ask why, I looked at the amount and it looked too little to split again. Now, let me come back to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, the month of January, the month of February, the month of March is usually, those are very difficult months for us at the National Treasury and the economy of Kenya as a whole. I want to explain to my colleagues that these are the months. First, you must pay capitation to schools in the first term. And out of the total allocation which you gave for capitation to primary schools, JSS, and high school of 96 billion, 48 billion must be released in first term. And that we did in total. We released 48 billion. Now, this second term, we will have to release another 14 billion, and then third term, another 14 billion. to complete, 24 billion, another 24 billion. The same month of January, Mr. Speaker, this is the time that you pay most of the loans, especially the loans which we took bilateral loan, we took from China to pay for SGR. This is the month that we paid on 16th of January, 10.6 billion for foreign payments. The same January 17th, we paid another 59 billion. I want to jump other small amounts and indicate the same January on 24th, we paid 3 billion. The same January on 21st, we paid 1.1 billion. So if you add the total amount that we paid for loans in January alone is 75 billion. You pay 75 billion and you pay salary of 80 billion. Our salary wage bill has moved from 75 billion, the way it was in December, to 80 billion per month in January. Why? One, we onboarded JSS teachers at enhanced salaries. Omboko Mlemba, Honorable, with his team, agitated for salary increment, which they deserve, and they got it. We also had to adjust the salary of our disciplined forces. We also had to adjust the salary of lecturers who are in the streets with 4.3 billion. Now, that has pushed our salary figures to 80. Now, 80 added to 75, that is already 150 billion. I will tell you, you have not released any money to counties, and you have not released any money to CDF, and you have not released any money for any operations. Now, that tells you that the commitment we have in January is that high. In February, again, the story is the same. And I will tell you that in the month of February, we had a T-bill redemption, Treasury bond, not bill, redemption of 51 billion. And redemption is redemption. You pay, it's not rollover. The month of April today, we have on 7th paid a Treasury bond of 90 billion, 90.99 billion, 100. So what am I saying in short? What I'm saying in short is that, honorable members, is not that National Treasury does not want to honor commitments that I make to this House. But sometimes you have to balance the needs that come before you. We all know that we had to struggle after the Gen Z's agitation. This economy was shut for almost 2 months. That affected revenue collection. But worse still is that external finances, we have not been able to receive external finances until now. Fortunately, now the doors are opening for external resources. Actually, when I gave this commitment in December, I was very sure that we were going to get external resources by February, March. Unfortunately, that has delayed. And let me just give you some examples. One, on IMF program, you know the 7th and 8th review delayed. 7th review was supposed to come in March. It didn't happen last year. May, it didn't happen. July, that didn't happen. September, it didn't happen. It happened in November, and that is the time we combined 7th and 8th review and got payment from IMF. After that, to prepare for the 9th review, it was not practical for us. So we mutually agreed to let go the 9th review and start another program. So the money that we were to get from IMF of 764 million US dollars, which is almost 100 billion shillings, that one is not coming. So we had to adjust. Now the World Bank disbursement of 600 million is coming in June. Why? Because you remember this House and the Senate delayed in a way, but we thank you for now finally passing the conflict of interest bill, which was a condition. World Bank could not give us money until that bill was passed. That bill has just been passed, and we thank you for it. But now it is unlocking. Today I was with the World Bank representative. It's unlocking 600 million to us. Another amount that has not come is the African Development Bank loan of 265 million US dollars. That again, fortunately, is coming in a week's time. All the conditions precedent have been realized. So, and this year, financial year, I want to tell you here today and report that we have not borrowed made any commercial loan borrowing. We have not borrowed any money commercially. The money that we borrowed was to manage a liability. So it was like we used a Eurobond to pay off Eurobond, which is coming in 2027. And we did that because we want to be proactive. We don't want to work like we worked before, which put us in problems. Now we have paid Eurobond that is due in 2027 because we realized if we delayed it, it was going to cause shocks in our economy. So we have not borrowed any money. We have only borrowed money locally in the domestic market and within the framework, and that is why you can see the interest rates today. 1 year ago, the 91-day Treasury bill was selling at 16%. Today it is 8.5%. Because of being careful, borrowing, with caution that we don't just go to the market. So let me come back to the issue of NGCDF. Honorable members, we have 2 months that we have defaulted now. If you take, and by the way, Mr. Speaker, this I can table, so that I can demonstrate, because I think my credibility went down a bit. So I can hear a lot, but so this is evidence that we have transferred 7 billion. So this is my commitment. My commitment is that, and by the way, we also have other very pressing demands on Exchequer. One of them is also the transfers to counties. Counties also we have not paid February, March. I want to assume I didn't hear that. But then I want to give a commitment again, because you can see that we have the intention to make sure that there is money released to NGCDF. I want to give a commitment that in the course of this April, we will give again another 7 billion. So that I am in this month, so that I cannot promise next week, because next week we are paying salaries. We must start paying salaries, but I will make sure that we release another 7 billion to the board, so that we only have 1 month in default or 1 month in arrears. Colleagues, I want to repeat again. If there is anything that under my watch as a minister is not done for National Government Constituency Development Fund, it is not intentional. It is because at times the pressure is too much. Sometimes you have to balance between paying the debts, which you must pay, because if you don't pay debt, by the way, there will be no economy. So we must pay our debts. We must release money to CDF. We must release money to education. We must release money for security. Sometimes we take security for granted when we boast of numbers of tourism rising. We don't know how much threat has been dealt with out there. So we must support our security. Let me conclude, Mr. Speaker, because I know there will be further questions, and ask that we have and plead that as leaders, people out there may not like us. They may say all sorts of things, but we are still their leaders. And therefore, I am just appealing that we are all privileged. We need to be sometimes a little bit cautious. I listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to pari, that we are likely to default in debt payment. That is irresponsible statement. It is irresponsible, it can cause panic, and it should not come from someone who has chaired Budget and Appropriations Committee. Let me tell you, yes, there were times when we had challenges, but where we are, we don't have a problem with debt sustainability. The numbers are there. The figures are there. Even the IMF has the figures. World Bank has figures. We have been rated out there. The problem we have is about liquidity. Loans were taken at a particular point of time. Most of them are maturing between now and 2032. That is why we have the pressure. After 2032, you go and look at our books and they're public. From 2034 to 2048, we don't have any loan to pay. There is no external loan to pay around that time. Whether bilateral, whether commercial, multilateral, we don't have much loans. But between now and 2032, we must work together. This House has a responsibility. Treasury has a responsibility. Executive has a responsibility. We must work together to steady our economy. And that is why some of us were taken to the executive as experts to make sure that we steer the ship. So don't discourage. This process will continue. I am committed to it. There is no time we will default in our loan repayment. This country is strong economically. It is the strongest economy in the region. So let nobody scare people that Kenya is going to default. We may be struggling. But let me ask you, have we failed to pay salaries? No. Have we failed to pay capitation to schools? We paid in full. Are we not meeting our expenditures for security and other matters? Yes. Are we going to release the entire CDF for development of our infrastructure in schools and security and pay bursary? Yes. Are we going to pay money to our counties? Yes. And by the way, let me ask. I have been in this house with you, and I used to sit there. That is my corner. I hope you reserve it for me. I will come back there maybe one time. This is not the first time we have had a delay. In fact, if you look at last financial year, it was worse. The last financial year was worse. And I'm committing to you, you will not have problems. I know there is bursary issues. We have released the 7 billion. I want to try release another 7 billion before schools open end of this month, so that you sort out the bursary and make sure that the balance we don't carry over to 2025, 2026. That is what I'm working on. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know I took longer than I should have taken, but now I can allow my colleagues, and I can take my water if you give me a bottle of water. Thank you very much.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members. The document provided by the minister, which I find authentic, indicates that today, for NGAF, an amount of 1,104,499,800 was released to the State Department for Gender. That is the route through which that money is ordinarily paid. And an amount of 7 billion was released to the State Department for Economic Planning. That is the route through which CDF is paid on its way to the board. The minister has also told you, and we will hold him to it, that before the close of the month, we have only 12 days to go, or thereabouts. He will pay another 7 billion. I'll now give Jack Wamboka the first opportunity to ask any clarification.
Honorable Speaker, I want you to protect me from the Deputy Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the Minister, one, for coming, and someone is distracting the Minister because the Minister should be listening to this. And first, two things, that we've been patient with the Minister with the things he has been saying. One, because he's a ranking member, former ranking member of this House. We would not have been tolerant, perhaps, if you didn't have those decorations with you. Two, I also must declare that the Minister is my very good personal friend, and we have many things we dream about together for future. Mr. Speaker, a lot of the things the Minister has said is what the Minister said in Naivasha. A lot of them. And Honorable Mbadi, we respect you. When you went to the Treasury as an expert with Mbadinomics, we expected you, by the time you are giving commitment to this House, you are sure about the things you are saying. You have put our Speaker not in very good light. You are lucky that we also trust our Speaker and we love him so much, because you have been using him as a shield. It does not make sense, Honorable Mbadi, my good friend, to say you gave the Speaker a plan on how you are going to disburse these monies, then later on you are bringing in the issues of disbursements, of capitation. The Mbadi, I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi, those are things that would have been on your fingertips, Mheshimiwa Mbadi, with due respect. And before even I continue, what we are expecting from you today is 21 billion. The bare minimum and take home, as we speak, is 21 billion. All these other things you are saying, capitation, county money, it is your responsibility as government to send these monies. The year is coming to an end. Mheshimiwa Mbadi, please do that is needful to our people, and don't bring a lot of issues, Honorable Speaker. Lastly, Mheshimiwa Mbadi, a lot of college and university students, most of them missed exams because we did not facilitate their bursaries. They will be forced to defer a whole year. A whole year. So how are you going to restitute that? That these students have been deferred and they continue now to live the way they live. So, Honorable Speaker, our bare minimum, don't talk of 2032, 2048, because loans will still be taken by those governments that are coming, we don't know. Because these are things now that we are tired of. We are speaking about now, and we have a lot of trust in you, Mheshimiwa Mbadi. I particularly know you, and particularly know that you can deliver better. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of this House, our bare minimum is 21 billion.
Musa Sirma.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you have given me. First and foremost is to thank you for bringing the CS Treasury here through your initiative and also the demand by members. Mr. Speaker, the amount of 7 billion translates into 23 million per constituency. And the balance which we had been given before, that is 14 billion, shows that every constituency has an average of 46 million. The average amount of bursary 60 to be given by the members at the 40% of what is in the Act, Mr. Speaker, 75. Comes between 75 70 million and 80 million.
Yes.
And yet, with these 7, we shall just be about 60. So, Mr. Speaker, we would have liked to release the children who are going to school when these bursaries have come up. So, Waziri, we need you to make up on that amount before even we move out of, by getting that 7 million.
Honorable members, I'm giving you an opportunity to seek clarification or ask a question to the minister.
Yes.
Not to engage in debate.
I am giving information, Mr. Speaker, as it is, because I have to translate the figures which we have been given by Waziri into actuals and what it means to the members of parliament and also the public outside. Mr. Speaker, we would like to ask the minister to be able, can he be able to sort out this bursary issue first before we even go for any development, so that